A lot of people are confused about grass seed. There's so many varieties out there on the shelf to understand. And what's important is to understand what conditions that your lawn has, whether it's sunny or shady, whether you have high traffic, and or which variety of grass you are currently using. So if you've got mostly bluegrass, you would want to look for a bluegrass seed mix. If you have mostly perennial rye, you want to look for that type of a mix. The healthiest lawns have a combination of bluegrass, perennial rye, and fescues. Now, the bluegrass gives you that wonderful, sun-loving, thick green look. The perennial ryegrass is actually good for high traffic, and then the fescues are good for high traffic and also for shadier areas. So when you have a combination, you've got a very healthy mix of grass seed so that you get a healthier lawn. If you do get a disease that comes in, it won't wipe the whole lawn out. So when you're looking at your lawn, look to see if you've got these bare spaces, and look to see if it's just thin or if you just want to add seed. So this is a sunny spot in the lawn right here. So I've chosen this sunny mix, and you'll look at the seed, and this is actually a great mix that has a coating of clay on the seed mixture which helps hold the moisture around it. When you're using it, you can either hand spread it like this, where you just spread it out over the bare areas, and you want to make sure that you only put it as thick as the diameter of the seed itself. So you're going to spread that over those areas. And then one thing that does help it, a lot of people ask, what do I need to cover it with to protect it from birds? And you don't need to use anything very heavy. My favorite is to just use like a mix, like a garden mix. This is just a potting mix, and you just cover it lightly again, only as deep as the seed itself. And this will help hold the moisture around the seed and protect it from any birds that would try to get it. There's other things you can also use, like a pelletized straw mix, and you can put that down. The nice thing about going with a professionally produced straw mix is that there's no weed seeds in it that will add weeds to the lawn itself. You also want to consider overseeding your existing lawn. Now, overseeding is putting seed in a broadcast spreader and spreading it over a lawn that is relatively healthy but might be a little thin, or it's just a good thing to introduce new seed once a year to give that infusion of disease-resistant variety so that you get a healthier lawn. Now, when you do that, you want to make sure you water it heavily to help force those seeds down into the soil in between the existing grass blades. Don't worry about covering it like you did with the bare spots, but just water it so those seeds get down into the soil. Now, when you are applying new seed, if it's an existing lawn, just use standard fertilizer. Don't worry about using the starter fertilizer. It has a high percentage of phosphorus, which is good for the new seed, but not very good for the existing lawn. If you have bare areas, then a starter fertilizer is a wise thing to use. So again, look at the thickness of the existing grass or bare areas, and that's how you decide how much starter fertilizer you want to use. But it's very important to use that fertilizer because that's going to give you those building blocks to help those grass plants get very well established. The make or break for success with seeding a lawn is keeping it evenly moist from the minute that it touches the soil. And I once had an instructor in college that always said that the success with seeding is that you have to have intimate contact of the seed with the soil. So make sure you're in contact with soil, and then you keep it evenly moist. Now that means being prepared to water it every day lightly for the first 2 weeks. It takes 10 to 14 days for bluegrass seed to germinate, and it takes 7 to 10 days for fescues and ryegrasses to germinate. So it's very important that you keep that soil evenly moist while those seeds germinate. Now, you also want to keep it evenly moist for 2 weeks afterwards while the roots get established. Then after that, follow the basic rule for watering a lawn, which means 1 inch a week when the temperatures are 75 degrees or lower of rainfall or supplemental water. when the temperatures go 10 degrees above that, for every 10 degrees above 75, you want to add another ½ inch of water. So if it's 85 outside, you want to make sure you're getting 1.5 inches of rain a week, or you're going to water that heavily. Now, you're looking at different sprinklers that we have right here. This is actually a pulsating sprinkler. This is the most efficient for water use. You only get 15% of evaporation if you use a pulsating sprinkler. If you're using an oscillating sprinkler, like the one right in front of this, and that's where the water goes overhead, back and forth and back and forth, you can lose as much as 35% of the water from evaporation. So a lot of people, if they're in water restrictive areas, will want to use the most efficient. You can also hand water, but make sure that you use a watering head on the end of the hose that has an adjustable nozzle. You want to use a shower effect, so you lightly shower the moisture into the soil. You don't flood it away. You don't want to wash the seed away. So always make sure you have it on the shower setting on one of these. Most efficient and the easiest to use. So again, look at the different varieties of the grass seed. You've got either the perennial mixes, the perennial rye mixes, the dense shade mixes, the high traffic mixes, or the full sun mixes. And choose the correct seed, apply it at the proper times, and water it well, and you'll have a great, healthy new lawn.